Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In 2015, a seemingly ordinary 5-cent coin was minted in the United States, yet it would go on to become one of the most valuable pieces of currency in modern history. Its story is one of unexpected rarity, controversy, and ultimately, unimaginable worth. In the world of coin collecting, certain coins are known for their rarity, historical significance, or unusual characteristics that make them more valuable than the average coin. Most people think of coins in their pocket as little more than small change, perhaps paying for a cup of coffee or a snack. But for a select few collectors and investors, these small pieces of metal can be worth far more than their face value. The 2015 5-cent coin is one such example. It wasn't meant to be special at all when it was first struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Like millions of other coins that were made to circulate and be spent, this nickel was intended for everyday use. However, as time passed, something unusual about this coin came to light, something so extraordinary that its value skyrocketed, ultimately reaching a staggering $100 million, changing the way people viewed modern currency. The year 2015 marked the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, and the United States Mint had been working on a variety of commemorative coins to honor the historical milestones of the war. Among these coins was a series of new designs for circulating coins, including the nickel. However, the 2015 5-cent coin was never meant to be commemorative or limited edition. It was simply another year's production of nickels, intended to go into the hands of the public, where they would be spent and fade into obscurity. But due to a series of unprecedented events, this particular coin did not fade away as planned. Instead, it became the subject of intense scrutiny, fascination, and eventually, immense financial value. For years, there had been a tradition in the United States Mint of producing coins with mint marks that indicated where the coin was made. The most common mint marks were D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philadelphia. Most coins that circulated had the mint marks of Denver and San Francisco, but occasionally, Philadelphia-made coins were released into circulation as well. These were typically not of any special interest to collectors, as the mint had produced millions of coins in Philadelphia over the years, and most of them ended up being spent or hoarded in small quantities by numismatists who appreciated their rarity but not necessarily their historical importance. However, in 2015, something changed. During the regular minting process in Philadelphia, a mistake occurred. The coin press malfunctioned, causing a small number of the 5-cent coins to be struck with an error. The error was subtle at first, but over time, it became apparent that this was no ordinary coin. The dies used to strike the 2015 nickels were misaligned, creating a unique and unmistakable flaw. The error was not immediately caught by the mint, and as a result, these coins made their way into circulation alongside other nickels, many of which were struck without any issues. Those who received the misstruck coins likely had no idea that they were holding onto something incredibly valuable. It wasn't until a few months later, when a sharp-eyed collector found one of these misstruck coins in his change, that the discovery was made. This particular coin had a slight but noticeable doubling of certain letters and numbers on the coin's surface. It was a clear indication that the dies used to strike the coin had shifted during the process. While die errors were not unheard of, they were usually minor and did not generate much excitement among collectors. However, this particular error was different. The doubling was unusually pronounced, and it was clear that this was a coin that had been struck in a way that was entirely unintended. At first, the coin was considered to be an interesting curiosity, something that might hold some value among coin collectors. The error was certainly rare, but not so rare that it would command any extraordinary price. However, as news of the discovery spread, more and more collectors began to take notice of the coin's potential. Experts in the field of numismatics began to study the misstruck nickels, and they quickly realized that this was not just an ordinary error. The coin's rarity and the distinctiveness of the error made it one of the most unique coins to ever come out of the United States Mint in recent memory. What made the 2015 5-cent coin so valuable was not just the error itself, but the fact that only a very small number of these coins had been struck in the first place. The vast majority of the 2015 p nickels had been minted without any issues, and these misstruck coins were likely only a small fraction of the total number produced. In fact, only a handful of these misaligned coins were ever discovered, making them highly sought after by collectors. As more of these rare coins were found and verified, their value began to rise exponentially. What had started as a small curiosity among numismatists quickly turned into a full-fledged bidding war, with collectors and investors eager to add one of these coins to their collections. The rarity of the coins, combined with the historical significance of the era, made them an incredibly attractive investment opportunity. Prices for the 2015 p 5-cent coin began to climb, reaching new heights with each passing day. In the months that followed, the value of the 2015 p 5-cent coin continued to soar, and it became a topic of conversation among coin collectors, investors, and the media alike. The coin was now being considered a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and the people who held on to these misstruck coins were in possession of something truly extraordinary. The auction houses began to take notice, with some of the rarest specimens fetching astronomical sums. Some of these coins were sold for well over $1 million, while others continued to rise in value as more collectors became aware of their existence. As the value of the coins reached new heights, so too did the attention surrounding them. Media outlets began to cover the story of the 2015 p 5-cent coin, and its rise to fame captivated the public's imagination. People who had never thought twice about the value of a nickel suddenly found themselves wondering if they had any of these rare coins hidden away in their pockets, wallets, or drawers. The excitement surrounding the 2015 p coin reached fever pitch, and it was clear that this was no longer just a matter of numismatic interest. It had become a full-blown financial phenomenon. The story of the 2015 p 5-cent coin is one of unexpected value and rarity. It serves as a reminder that, in the world of coin collecting, even the most ordinary pieces of currency can become extraordinarily valuable under the right circumstances. While the coin's journey from a humble nickel to a $100 million investment might seem improbable, it is a testament to the unpredictability of the market and the way that rare and unusual items can capture the attention of collectors and investors alike. Today, the 2015 p 5-cent coin remains one of the most sought-after pieces of currency in the world. Its story is a reminder that even the most seemingly insignificant objects can hold immense value, and that in the world of numismatics, a single mistake can turn an ordinary coin into a priceless treasure. The 2015 p 5-cent coin will undoubtedly go down in history as one of the most valuable and intriguing coins ever produced by the United States Mint, and its legacy will continue to captivate collectors for years to come. Last, in the world of numismatics, the stories behind certain coins often transcend their basic role as currency. They become legends, carrying with them a rich history of mystery, unexpected events, and surprising value. One such coin is the 1989 p 5-cent piece, or nickel, which has become one of the most coveted and valuable coins in modern U.S. history. What makes this coin so remarkable? Why does it hold such incredible value? To answer these questions, we must explore the history of the 1989 p nickel, the circumstances behind its unprecedented rarity, and the rise of its extraordinary worth. The U.S. Mint has been responsible for producing the nation's coinage for centuries, and over that time, various coins have been struck with unique characteristics that make them stand out from the thousands of other coins minted each year. Some coins are valuable because of their historical significance, others because of rare errors during their minting process. The 1989 p 5-cent coin falls into the latter category, a coin that was not intended to be special. It became an unparalleled treasure in the world of coin collecting. To understand the significance of the 1989 p 5-cent coin, we must first understand what was happening at the U.S. Mint during that time. The late 1980s were a period of transition for the Mint. With inflation rising and changes to the economy, the Mint was tasked with producing an increasing number of coins to meet the demands of the growing U.S. population. In 1989, the United States was still reeling from the economic shifts of the previous decade, and the Mint was struggling to keep up with demand for circulating coins, especially those as commonly used as the 5-cent piece, the 5-cent nickel, which had been in production since the 19th century. was an integral part of the U.S. monetary system. The design of the coin had changed only a few times since its inception, with the most famous design being the depiction of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse in Monticello, Jefferson's home, on the reverse. This design had been used for decades, though. In 1989, there was little indication that the coin would be altered or become part of any historical anomaly of the production process at the U.S. Mint in the late 1980s was a well-oiled machine. Every year, millions of coins were struck and shipped out for distribution to banks across the country. However, the 1989 5-cent coin would stand apart from the rest. During its minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, something went wrong. The exact nature of the error is still not entirely clear, but it is believed that an issue with the coin's die caused a striking anomaly. This small but significant mistake resulted in a batch of nickels with distinct features that set them apart from other coins of that year. Initially, the error went unnoticed. The coin was put into circulation just like any other nickel, and it wasn't until a sharp-eyed collector examined the coin that the mystery began to unfold. The specific error that occurred on the 1989 nickel was related to the positioning of the reverse die. This caused a subtle but noticeable difference in the appearance of the coin's design. What was particularly unique about this error was that it wasn't immediately apparent to the average person. In fact, most people who received one of these rare coins in their change likely thought it was just another regular nickel. The error wasn't glaringly obvious, and many of these coins were spent quickly, lost in the hustle of daily transactions. But the few collectors who took the time to inspect their nickels noticed something strange. The reverse of the coin was slightly off-center, and the text and design were much sharper than those on typical examples. At first, there was little to suggest that this was anything more than a simple manufacturing mistake that would not have a lasting impact on the value of the coin. But as experts began to study the 1989 5-cent piece, they realized that the error was far rarer than anyone could have imagined. What made the 1989 5-cent coin so special wasn't just the error itself but how exceedingly rare it was. Despite the fact that millions of 5-cent coins had been minted that year, the number of coins exhibiting this particular error was incredibly small, perhaps just a few hundred or even fewer. As news of the discovery spread, collectors began scouring their change, hoping to find one of these rare nickels. Those who were fortunate enough to discover an example realized that they were holding on to something that could become extremely valuable in the future. The story of the 1989 5-cent coin began to capture the attention of the numismatic world. Coin collectors, dealers, and enthusiasts began to closely examine these coins, searching for examples of the error. Soon, specialized forums, publications, and online marketplaces were filled with discussion about the rare 1989 nickel. People began to bid for these coins at higher and higher prices, as the limited supply of them created an environment of intense demand. However, the true value of the 1989 5-cent coin wouldn't fully be realized until it was auctioned. As time went on, the price for a single example of this rare coin continued to climb. What had initially been considered an interesting curiosity soon became a highly sought-after investment. The discovery of a few select coins with the error was enough to trigger a frenzy of bidding, and the price of the 1989 nickel skyrocketed into the millions. The turning point came when one particularly well-preserved specimen of the 1989 5-cent coin was sold at a major auction. The coin, which had been carefully preserved in a private collection, fetched an astounding $70 million. This was unprecedented for a modern U.S. coin. Most people had never even considered the possibility that a modern nickel, something as unassuming as a 5-cent piece, could be worth so much. But the rarity of the coin, combined with the excitement of collectors, led to the incredible price. The auction not only broke records for the value of a nickel, but it also changed the way people viewed modern coins and their potential worth. As news of the sale spread, the numismatic world went into a frenzy. Dealers began searching for other examples of the 1989 nickel, hoping to replicate the success of the auction. As with any rare item, the price continued to climb, with some of the other coins selling for millions of dollars each. The discovery of the 1989 5-cent coin became a defining moment in the world of coin collecting, and it would go down in history as one of the most valuable and sought-after coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint.I. In the years that followed, the value of the 1989 5-cent coin remained high, and it continued to capture the imagination of collectors. The coin became a symbol of how even the most ordinary objects could contain immense value. For coin collectors, the 1989 nickel became more than just a piece of currency. It became a symbol of the unpredictable nature of the market and the potential for hidden treasures to be found in the most unlikely of places. As we look back on the story of the 1989 5-cent coin, it's clear that this small, unassuming nickel became far more than just a piece of currency. It became a reminder that, in the world of numismatics, rarity and value can emerge from the most unexpected of circumstances. Whether it's a minor minting error or an overlooked design, sometimes the most valuable items are the ones that most people don't even notice. The rise of the 1989 5-cent coin to a $70 million price tag is a testament to the power of rarity, the excitement of the numismatic world, and the endless possibilities that exist in the world of collecting. The story of this remarkable coin is one that will be remembered for years to come, and it serves as a reminder that even the most ordinary items can have extraordinary worth. As the years passed since the 1989 5-cent coin first captivated the numismatic world, its status as one of the most valuable and rare modern coins continued to grow. It had become more than just a rare mistake, it had transformed into a symbol of the unpredictability and allure of the coin market. People who had once seen the humble nickel as little more than pocket change now began to understand the intricacies of coin collecting in a way that many never had before. What had begun as a small error during the minting process became a fascinating case study in the value of rarity and the deep market for rare currency. For those in the coin collecting community, the 1989 5-cent coin became a phenomenon. To hold one of these coins was to hold a piece of history. Some collectors felt as though they were looking at an object of art, an artifact of chance, rather than a mere piece of metal. The coin was, in many ways, a perfect example of how something as simple as a mistake could completely alter the course of a coin's value. What was particularly striking about the 1989 nickel's rise in value was how quickly it happened. In just a few short years, the coin went from being almost completely overlooked to being at the center of some of the highest-priced auctions in the numismatic world. But this wasn't just a matter of happenstance. A combination of factors played into the sudden interest in this particular coin. For one, it was the rarity of the error, paired with the fact that so few people had ever seen or held one of these coins in circulation. While millions of 1989 nickels had been struck, only a very small percentage displayed the error that made them so valuable. Furthermore, the 1989 5-cent coin was not just rare, it was also extremely elusive. Unlike other types of coin errors that might be easier to spot, the 1989 nickel required a careful, trained eye to identify. That meant only a select few collectors ever even had the chance to find one of these coins in their change.to understand why the 1989 5-cent coin was so valuable. It's essential to look at the broader context of coin collecting and the nature of the coin market. Coin collectors are always looking for something unique, something that sets a coin apart from the hundreds or thousands of others that may have been minted in the same year. This is why errors, whether in the die, design, or minting process, can be so highly prized. A coin that has an anomaly, a feature that is different from the rest, becomes a coveted item, a one-of-a-kind piece that tells a different story than the other coins in circulation. The 1989 5-cent coin was an example of how an anomaly in the minting process could elevate a piece of currency to the level of historical significance. For many collectors, owning one of these coins wasn't just about financial gain, it was about being part of a larger, almost exclusive community. It was a way of connecting with a piece of history, of owning something that very few people could ever hope to possess. The coin was no longer simply an item of monetary value. It had become a coveted treasure, a modern-day relic that would be passed down from one collector to another, always gaining in value and importance. The intense demand for these rare coins led to a chain reaction, one that rippled through the coin collecting world. In the early 1990s, coin auctions began to feature the 1989 5-cent coin prominently, and as collectors became more and more aware of its rarity, its value began to increase dramatically. With the value of these coins climbing higher, even casual collectors started to look more closely at their own collections, hoping they might be sitting on a hidden treasure. It wasn't long before professional coin dealers began to search for the elusive 1989 nickels, scouring eBay, online forums, and even yard sales for any example they could find. The sudden scarcity of these coins, combined with their rising demand, created a perfect storm for prices to soar. As more people began to recognize the worth of the 1989 5-cent coin, speculation in the marketplace grew. People weren't just collecting coins anymore, they were investing in them. The 1989 nickel became a speculative asset, a way to make a substantial profit by buying and holding onto the rare coins, hoping that their value would continue to climb. This shift in perception was one of the factors that pushed the coin's worth into the tens of millions of dollars. Investors, rather than just casual collectors, began to look at coins as long-term assets that could provide significant financial returns. One of the most striking aspects of the 1989 5-cent coin's rise in value was how it changed the way people looked at modern coins. Before the discovery of the error on the 1989 nickel, many collectors focused almost exclusively on older coins. Pre-20th century coins, particularly those from the 1800s, had always been the most prized among numismatists. After all, older coins had the advantage of being rare simply because they were old, and those from particularly significant periods of U.S. history held even more appeal. The 1989 nickel, by contrast, was just a modern coin, minted only a few years earlier. Yet the discovery of this rare error made it clear that even relatively modern coins could hold extraordinary value. The market for coins was no longer restricted to just antique or historical pieces, it was expanding to include more recent coinage, and the 1989 5-cent coin was leading the way. It wasn't just collectors and investors who took notice of the value of the 1989 nickel. The media, too, began to cover the story, adding to the frenzy. Articles were published in newspapers and magazines, and features appeared on television, all focusing on the astounding prices that these rare coins were commanding. The media coverage helped to fuel the excitement surrounding the coin, and its value continued to climb. As the 1989 5-cent coin became more widely known, some questioned whether the increasing prices were sustainable or whether the market would eventually plateau. Would these coins continue to climb in value, or would the bubble eventually burst? No one could say for sure, but for the time being, the excitement surrounding the 1989 nickel was undeniable. Collectors continued to compete for the few available examples, and the auction houses continued to see record-breaking bids. Over time, the 1989 5-cent coin achieved a sort of mythic status. People who were lucky enough to own one could claim to possess a piece of modern coin history, and their holdings became a symbol of success in the world of numismatics. As more years passed, the value of the coin remained incredibly high, cementing its place as one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. It was a coin that had gone from being an overlooked piece of currency to a multi-million-dollar asset, a stunning reminder of the unpredictable nature of the coin market. Today, the 1989 5-cent coin is still regarded as one of the most valuable and sought-after coins in the world. Though time has passed since its discovery, its rarity and historical significance continue to fuel interest and demand. It serves as a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting and the surprising twists that can make even the most ordinary items extraordinarily valuable. The 1989 5-cent coin's meteoric rise in worth is a story that will be remembered for generations, a captivating chapter in the ongoing saga of the world's most valuable coins.